Well, hello everyone. This is Sevilla I Love, and here we are on this channel getting back to living and loving life again after major life-altering loss, such as being widowed. If you're new to this channel, I am a psychotherapist. I am a coach, and I specialize in grief and loss. And this channel brings a little bit different aspect to things. We are not physical beings having spiritual experiences. We are spiritual beings having human experiences. And this informs some of the information that I'm going to bring to you today. The top three most unusual tips that you need to be successful when dating a widow, widower, or if you are a dating widow yourself. So let's dive into this today because this is going to be very useful to you. Number one, when you are engaged with a widow, you're thinking, how am I going to measure up to this person that's no longer here? Am I going to be in competition with them? These are big ideas that come because the widowed, if they had a halfway decent relationship, they still love their late spouse. They still love them. And this causes this confusion, often with both parties. The widowed may be thinking, oh, can I love again? And what's my standard for a person? Is this the standard, my late loved one? Because nobody is ever going to be able to measure up to that. You know why? Because there was only one person like that in the world and they're no longer here. So this concept of comparison is always going to bring somebody into a difficult state of blockage to be able to love again. And the same thing goes for the one who is dating the widowed person. Because if you imagine that you're in competition with this dead person and that somehow you're feeling like you're never going to be able to live up to them, then you're in a state of competition. And both of you are now in a state of resistance to some very important things that must be eventually surrendered to in order for either of you to be successful in love. So listen up. Tip number one, they did not die. Okay. So before you say that makes no sense, Sybil, of course they died. There's a grave, there's a pile of ashes. They're not here. This is true. They did not die, they transformed. If we're spiritual beings having a human experience, then what happened is the human form dissolved. Okay, the human form no longer is animated or in use. But that which animated the body, the person who's gone, still exists. Okay. They still exist. And if they still exist, it's so important to remember that physical death does not end a relationship. Physical death merely ends a physical life. It doesn't end a relationship. Okay. And before you get uptight about that, what happens as the when the body dies, the energy then transforms and crosses through the veil into the next world. But it's not out there. Okay. It's something that's probably very close to us, probably another dimension beyond what we can imagine here. But they didn't die. And so if they didn't die, but they're not here to do the dishes or go to family events or celebrate holidays with you, then what does that mean? Well, a new relationship has to be born between the loved ones left behind and those in spirit. Now, eventually, we move from the deep darkness of grief where we're clinging to the life that was, and we're keeping everything that we can. We're holding on to mementos and things, and we're not moving nothing in the house. And we're continuing with all the same rituals and routines because we need to be able to hold on to the memory of this person and make ourselves feel some kind of comfort that they're still with us by not changing anything. And that is holding on to the physical reality of the person. What it's not doing is taking into account that they've transformed. It would be almost, I don't know if this is a good analogy or not, but holding on to the childhood of your offspring. It's like I'm just holding on to you as a 5-year-old child when they're 30 years old now. Right? You have to be able to love that child in every stage of their development. Now, if we are this eternal being, then could we bring ourselves to love our loved ones in the reality they are now, in the stage of the development they are now? And that, at present, if they've died to this world, means that they have crossed over and that are now in a new stage of development. Can we love them where they're at? And can we love ourselves enough to be able to continue living the life that we have here now? So they did not die, they transformed, they slipped across the veil, and they went home. But the connection remains. The relationship, which means the love that bonded you together, still exists. And that is not going to die. And that's something that everyone has to be okay with, because this was not a divorce. This was not a breakup. This was a death. Death does not end a relationship. It ends a physical life. So, number 2, Earth isn't our home. Okay? Earth isn't our home. This isn't the final show. This is not the final show. This is temporary. This is the concept that Earth is school. And so what happened, and this isn't to be insensitive, but this is for people who are moving forward in their loss and are trying to get back into life. This is not for people in the acute stage of grief. Okay, I just want to say this. I don't want to be insensitive to people in that acute stage. I want to honor it. But for those of you moving forward and you're dating, Earth's not our home. The spirit world is our home, for whatever you want to call that. This temporary school of life, if you're still here, that means that you still have purpose. This life still has meaning. You have things yet to do, perhaps soul contracts yet to complete and experience. And you may have other soul contracts. And if you don't know what that means, I recommend you Google it a little bit, because that's a whole nother topic. I do talk about it in other videos on this channel. But this soul contract is the concept that you have an agreement with this other beloved before we come into this earth, and to agree to come to the earth school and say, I need to experience, I need to learn how to love. I need to learn what it means to have these certain types of experiences. And then once we've had those experiences, then our contract will be complete. And one of us will have an exit point. And I agree, perhaps, to be the one left behind and to bear the pain of that and the lessons that that will also bring me. Okay? You don't have to agree with me, but you can listen. That's a possibility. I want to open up other ways of possibly conceiving of the loss that you've had, and possibly conceiving of the loss that this person you're trying to love who's been widowed is having. And to be able to have these types of conversations, to be in state of awe and wonder about our existence here and what this experience, this painful, painful loss brings to you in the terms of your development of your own soul and you still being here. Because if you're still here, you're still meant to love. Now, whether or not you go on to have romantic love or not, it is either up to you or within your life path and continued purpose. I don't know. But if you're talking and listening and engaging with this video, I imagine you're at least hoping for it, if not already engaged in new love. So in bringing up these concepts to discuss with one another, you're still here for a reason. Your beloved has crossed over. They have graduated. They have completed their soul's contract. And If they're on the other side, you're still continuing a connection and a bond. How do you start over? How do you bring someone new into your life? How do you love a new person? And I'm going to tell you what number three is after I touch on a couple of more issues with this. Since this person who's crossed over is still very much going to be a part of your life because they're a part of the tapestry of your soul, the tapestry of your life. They may have been the mother or father of your children. They may have just been a deep soul bond, your soulmate, all of these things that they meant everything in the world to you. But now that they're gone, forming another bond with a new person means that the new person has to be able to understand, and that's for those of you dating a widowed person, that there's no taking the other person's place. There is no way to truly stand in comparison to the late spouse because there was only one of them, that relationship that they had together was unique. It belonged only to them. And here's what you two are doing. If you're serious about each other, you're building a beautiful new bond. This is going to be something completely different, completely new. But in order to be able to make this new, you have to incorporate the life that's already been lived and the people who have already been loved. Now, let me put this into context of, let's say, high school. Okay, so you go through all through the many grades, not just high school, but like the whole school experience, kindergarten through 12th grade. You don't walk in and expect that your third grade teacher is better than your seventh grade teacher in terms of the information that they bring you, because each one has a different purpose. They each bring you different foundational pieces of information that help you to grow and develop and move forward. Okay. They're each memorable. They each have their own stories to tell and to experience with you. They belong to the grade that they belong to. But one is not necessarily greater than the other, but they each matter vitally. So now you are another grade and another place to start yet again, learning yet again. All of that builds on the foundations of what are brought to this present moment. So all of the ways they learned how to love, all of the ways they learned how to sacrifice, all of the things that they learned that were mistakes that they don't want to repeat again. All of the wisdom they bring to bear in the moment of the two of you coming together to love one another. Now, that's pretty powerful. But how can you incorporate someone that seems to have all of this great life experience with the person you're trying to love, the widowed? And how can you conceive of loving this new person when you have all of this memory and history in your mind and your heart of this other person? Because that has such heavy weight, doesn't it? Here's what it's going to take for both of you. For the widowed, you need to be able to understand that this is the incorporation of all of the life, all of the experience, all of the grades you have gone through up until this point. And that what you're bringing to the new love isn't just a heart heavy with love for somebody who's gone, but what you're bringing to this present moment is many, many years of experience and wisdom and learning how to love properly. Okay, so this is the gift that you bring to this new person. A new person dating the widowed, what you need to do, and this is number three, you need to befriend the late spouse. You need to become friends with them, to talk to them. And what do I mean by that? If they still exist and we're all made of energy, how are you seeing me right now? These are energetic communications. We're little ones and zeros and things going across the internet. I'm not even physically really here, but you're hearing me, are you not? So, this communication that you could potentially have, a sense of feeling in communication and connection with the late spouse, is something that you can do in your heart and mind. And I want to suggest that when you think of them, they think of you because it's an instant connection of energetic intention. So, if you're thinking of this late spouse and you say, let's say her name's Susie. Susie, I want to be friends with you. I want to know who you are and who you were and what your world was like. And I want to be able to honor you for the life that you lived here and for this beautiful man that you left for me to love, or for the man to be able to say to the late spouse, the widowed woman he's dating, Joe, I think you were a good man, and I'm grateful for the good care that you took of this woman before I met her. And I want you to know I'm going to take good care of her too. I'm going to love her with all my heart. I'm going to protect her. I'm going to take care of her. Thank you. And we're soldiers at arms. We're friends. And I'm going to honor the legacy that you left by honoring what is now growing in her life and in mine and helping to carry and move her forward. So it's like when the father gives away the bride, he's entrusting the new young man to take care of his daughter. This is why the father gives away the bride, you know, and why the young man asks the father for approval. So in the spirit of that, if you're dating the widowed woman, could you bring that type of friendship, that masculine provision, to the engagement of the friendship with the husband who's crossed over, rather than seeing him as competition because she still loves him? Because if she still loves him, then he took pretty good care of her. And isn't that what you want? Is a woman that knows how to be cherished and loved and cared for by a man. Okay. Now, what if he didn't take very good care of her? Well, you have an opportunity to do a lot better and to bring her even more joy and happiness. It doesn't mean you still can't befriend him. And if you're the widowed, right, it might be something that might feel awkward to bring up to the date. You might show them this video, but this new person that you're trying to love that maybe feels like she or he is in competition with your late spouse. And you bring yourself to this moment and you say, all that I have been, all that I have experienced, all that I have loved and lost informs who I am now as this creature living in this moment, trying to keep moving forward after devastating loss and really wanting to try to love again. But I can't not love that person anymore. And if either of you imagine that that has to happen, that you have to stop loving that person, and that's somehow disloyal to the love that you have now, then both of you are going to be in a state of resistance to what is, to the reality. And if you're in a state of resistance, you're going to be pushing against this. This is the law of cause and effect. Okay. Equal and opposite reactions. You're going to be in a state of resistance. What if you each fall into a state of surrender? I loved her or him, and I still love them. And now they've transformed, and I love them in spirit. And I know that they bless me and that they give me their love and permission because true love wishes for happiness for the beloved. And in that state, on the other side, they're free of the ego. They're free of those egoic needs that say, this is mine, this is mine. There's only love. There's just love. So if there's just love, there's no egoic attachment. And then there's just this great grace that's given to you here in this life. Go and be happy. Love again. Bring more love into the world. Make more love. Make more happiness. Do what you're here to do. They're going to wish this for you, want this for you, impress this upon you energetically, your beloveds will from the other side. So receive that from them. Let go of the guilt, the worry, the fear. Let that go because it does not serve you, either of you, in this relationship as you're moving forward. And so surrender to the reality of ongoing love and surrender to the reality that this is a new love, a new relationship that will grow, and bonds are built on shared experience. And that's going to take time. It's going to take many months, many years, and your bonds are going to develop and grow in a different way than the widowed did with their late spouse because the world is different. Your lives are different. You will never have those experiences again. It's not. So stop resisting the reality of this and delve into the happiness and the joy and the possibility that exists now. Stop looking back on what you're not going to get again. Look forward to what you could potentially have, what you are having now with this person, the new experiences, the new joys, the new challenges, the new stimulus that this different person brings you that may help you to develop parts of yourself that you never knew existed before because this new person triggers something new in you. And maybe that's what you need. Maybe that's part of your purpose in moving forward, as these new inspirations that this next stage of your life is bringing you. And for those dating and loving the widowed, not to hold yourself in comparison. Hold yourself firm and steady in this present moment right now. Learn to love, accept, and surrender to what was, to what is, that they didn't die. Death does not end a relationship, and that you can join in that friendship and create your own bond with the beloved on the other side. Because now, if you're loving them, you're part of that love. And it's not a trio. This is not a menage a trois. This is pure love, unattached to earthly, willful, egoic issues of jealousy. This is a challenge for all of you, an opportunity for each of you to be able to break open, grow, and become more than what you were before by virtue of loving each other now and allowing love to exist on every level and joining in to that love by creating your own bond with the beloved on the other side. And for the widowed to move more deeply into the present moment. And for the date to join them in this moment and co-create a new future together based on all that was, all that is, and all that you're creating to bring forward in a beautiful, beautiful recipe that's made just for you both.